Hello there! This is Jake with Game Domain, and today we bring you a very special video premiere because as of recording, we have over 50 other content creators, ranging from bigger YouTubers with 50,000 subscribers or more, to very small YouTubers who are trying to build up their channels. So, while watching this, if any specific clip stands out to you, write down their names and see what content they have on their channels after the video is done. All links are in the description. And lastly, if you are a content creator and you would want to be a part of a collab like this, we plan on doing more videos exactly like this, so join our Discord and look in the collab channel. Anyway, on to the video.
Finally, after years of searching, the perfect game has been located. This map will reveal its final resting spot. This game, it means everything. It has adventure, action, and heart. Today we set out for adventure. We will roam lands unknown to man. In the game, we roam the oceans and the lands. We sail the ocean seas for days on end. We must bring peace to this broken family. We must avenge the fallen. Eureka! Here! I must dig for treasure.
Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is one of my all-time favorite games because I've never had a game on the GameCube. We're talking about the GameCube here, specifically the GameCube. Like, think back to the consoles we had back then. The games you had weren't super complex and didn't have a whole ton to them. Wind Waker, I'd never had a game give me that much freedom to roam before. Have you ever considered how big the world is in that game? Because most of it's ocean, they're left with a lot of space to do other things with the islands. And so you have really fun, really kind of complicated puzzles to get through, along with tons and tons and tons of things to do on the side.
What's up everybody, I'm Landon from Nintendo Land, and my favorite game is Super Mario Sunshine. I like Mario Sunshine ever since I was a little boy, and I still do just as much today. I'm not gonna lie, there was one game that actually rivaled it recently, and that was Mario Odyssey. And I am gonna tell you exactly why Sunshine is still a little bit better in my eyes. It really just comes down to how great Sunshine controls. No, I can't say that straight face. It really comes down to the mission-based gameplay. It's really cool and creative to do different missions because each mission changes the world so drastically. This is a huge plus for the replay value because in Odyssey, you can't really do much after you collect all the moons. The overworld's kind of bland, and you can't even replay some of the missions. Sunshine's whole atmosphere is just so much different than the past Mario games. You don't have the same trope of jungle, forest, lava, desert. You know, they change things up a little bit. You have all kinds of different themed beaches. You have a creepy mansion on the beach. You have an amusement park, for crying out loud. Well, I'm just sitting here waiting for them to either remake this game or put it in Odyssey because it's in Odyssey. Look at the globe.
Hey guys, it's Defogger here, and I have two games I could easily put at this spot. There's the one everyone's expecting, but I'll go more in detail with that one when the sequel comes out. Instead, I'm gonna talk about the one you probably didn't expect, Okami. How's this for a premise? The world has been cursed and overrun by demons, and you play as a literal god, trying to make things right again. Well, that's what you get with Okami. The game has an RPG-esque leveling system, but instead of leveling up through battles, you gain experience by helping out the various citizens of Nippon and restoring the nature around you. Speaking of nature, this game is beautiful. The unique art style truly is something to behold. It's beyond satisfying to see an area get restored after you revive the Guardian Sapling. The music, while not particularly memorable on its own, does a great job of enhancing the atmosphere in every part of the game. The areas are also a huge highlight. Both visually and mechanically, most of the areas are very well designed, making them really fun to explore and fix up, from the humble Kamiki village to the vast expanse of Ryoshima Coast. Special mention goes to the dungeons. aside from the Arc of Yamato. But I've gone all this time without mentioning Okami's main gameplay mechanic, the Celestial Brush. All the powers you gain throughout the game are executed by drawing various brush strokes across the environment. All of your powers not only feel really unique and different from one another, for the most part, but most of them are used constantly throughout the game. This isn't like Zelda, where you only use an item in the dungeon you found it and never again. Wauku Shrine in particular puts a large emphasis on using most of the brush techniques. The combat, while laughably easy most of the time, is still fun due to the use of your powers. Also, the enemy designs are really creative and some of the bosses are real standouts. This game still has the best final boss I've ever faced. Finally, the story isn't that special on its own, but it really enhances the gameplay. There aren't that many twists and turns, but building up the evil forces makes taking them down much more satisfying. Most of the people you meet aren't super memorable characters, aside from their designs, but knowing you're fighting for them makes the journey that much more special. Besides, there are some standouts like Isun, Waka, and especially Susano. As you've obviously guessed by this point, I highly recommend this game, but specifically, I recommend the HD versions. Let's just say the original had some serious control issues.
Hi everyone, my name is Jetski, and my favorite game or series is Monster Hunter. These games are not the most immersive, not the more intense games I've played, but they are my favorites because they are consistently good and balanced. I love the art style, it's a mix between Western and Japanese fantasy. The design of the weapons and armors is flashy enough to look cool, but not too over the top. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, it's a world where you fight giant monsters with giant weapons. The physics don't make sense, but the game doesn't care. It goes with that, and it doesn't try to explain it or make it realistic, it just wants you to have fun. The gameplay is smooth and interesting, and the challenge is here. You have to learn the patterns and weaknesses of each monster, and any mistake is heavily punished. But it's never frustrating like a Dark Souls can be. You really feel a sense of progression when you learn from your mistakes. And the progression system is pretty simple. You kill monsters to get loot, to get better gear, to kill bigger monsters. But with the wide variety of weapons, monsters and environments, it never gets boring and you can easily spend hundreds of hours on a single episode. And the fact that there is no real story to follow, it's more like a succession of quests that you choose by yourself. It gives you the freedom to decide what you want to hunt and when according to what you need for your current gear. The main downside of this series has always been its low quality graphics, because it was on PlayStation 2 first and later on handheld consoles, but the recent Monster Hunter World added gorgeous graphics and many quality of life improvements over the few annoying aspects of the previous games, and that gives us pretty much the perfect game. I should play it more often.
Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal were already some of the best games in the Pocket Monster series to begin with, so they more than deserved a remake that did them justice. Heart Gold and Soul Silver not only contain all the extra content from Crystal, but the developers went the extra mile to add so much great new stuff to the game and polish up the parts that were lacking in the original. The half-baked return to Kanto is fleshed out back to its Generation 1 glory, the disappointing conclusion to the Team Rocket plot is expanded upon in a downloadable event, and minor characters are given more screen time. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver reached their highest point in charm and creativity with this NPC. He's introduced to the player early on as just some guy who seemingly only exists for a pointless gimmick where you can take pictures in a Rocket Grunt costume. Nothing to make you think this guy ever has any significance beyond that. Much later in the game, you get to a point in the story where Team Rocket has infiltrated a radio tower. In the original, you just barge in there and beat everyone up, but in the remake, they won't let you in unless you disguise yourself as one of them. So where are you gonna get a Rocket uniform from? And then it dawns on you. Random NPCs even react differently to you when you're wearing the uniform. This game is made with so much attention to detail that you can tell how much love Game Freak put into it. Of course, the game would be totally presentable if it weren't for many of these new additions. The core gameplay of Pokemon is brilliant in the first place. So many different creatures to raise in so many different ways give this series virtually unlimited replay value. It's a simple enough RPG for children to play, yet somehow manages to simultaneously be complex enough to become a competitive strategy esport. And to me, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, with its unmatched charm, beautiful visuals, and stunning soundtrack, is the series' crowning achievement. The series has of course had other remakes of its older entries, but Fire Red and Leaf Green were just a cheap rehash, or as was arguably a downgrade, and the less said about Let's Go the better. But just this one time they did everything right. This is the one Pokemon remake that truly had heart and soul put into it.
Hey everybody, my name is Ben, otherwise known as 27 across Twitch and YouTube, and my favorite game of all time is, I'm gonna get flack for it, but it's League of Legends, but let me tell you why it's League of Legends. So, League of Legends has been around for 10 years, alright? It's been relevant for 10 years. It's been played at a popular level for about 10 years, enough to continue the game going on for years to come, right? They already have roadmaps designed for this. So some of the reasons that it's my favorite game and so many of the reasons that it's been around for so long is that they're always keeping things fresh. Yes, the map has stayed the same for 10 years, basically, besides a couple visual updates. Like the routes have been virtually the same. They've tried to introduce a couple other modes, but they've always proved to not be as popular as the core 5 vs 5 League of Legends MOBA format. New champions are added each and every year. This used to happen a lot more often, however, it's about 4 or 5 per year now, every 2 months or so, every 3 months. Whenever these new champions are introduced, some of them come with brand new mechanics, whether it's combat or movement mechanics that open up the game. And how does it do that? Well, one champion has that ability for now when it's released. However, that might be a mechanic that they explore or might lead to an even newer mechanic in the future for either a brand new champion or a current champion that exists but is underplayed that they want to rework. Which brings me to my next point. Riot Games does a great job of finding older champions that are either underplayed, underpowered, or just frankly feel stale, and do usually a good job of reworking them, updating their skills, updating their visual effects, their sound effects, sometimes even their lore. They do a great job of keeping things fresh with their older champions, which makes the game feel newer more often. Next up, they have a great skin team. So you're able to add skins, cosmetic skins to your champions. Everything costs money except for the rare like loot box you get or something. But a lot of these skins are really well done. Occasionally, as is with just about every company, you're going to have some stinkers in there. But for the most part, a lot of their skins are really cool. League of Legends has a lot to offer a very wide audience. Even if you don't like the MOBA genre too much or playing it competitively, there's casual modes for you. If you enjoy the genre and you like to play it casually, that's there too. If you enjoy MOBAs and you want to play ranked, that's an option. They also added a brand new mode, which basically ripped off Dota Auto Chess, but it is an auto battler. It's called Teamfight Tactics. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. I find it incredibly fun. I never really played Dota Auto Chess very much, except for on my phone. I played the mobile version, but I never played it actually on the PC or anything. So Teamfight Tactics is something that I'm really enjoying within League of Legends. I think the main reason that I've enjoyed this game over so many years is because of the ranked competitive mode. I'm a very competitive person, so playing 5v5 and being able to measure with a structured system how well I'm doing compared to my friends, compared to some person I just smacked down, or maybe they kicked my butt. It's really nice to be able to see a comparison of how I'm doing. That way, it gives me an item to really focus on of, oh, I'm not winning versus maybe this champion, or maybe whenever this type of player plays against me, I don't do so well. I have the ability to go and kind of analyze my own performance and say, okay, what things can I control to make myself better? Because everybody knows whenever you're winning, you're having a lot more fun. At least that's how I am. But being able to really compare myself and stack myself up against the competition really is an added layer. And each match that you play is not going to be the same, right? Yeah, you have 5 people against 5 people. It's the same map. But there's 145 champions out there, right? Not saying I'm good at all of them, but if I wanted to, I had the option to play them each and every match. So those are the reasons why I enjoy League of Legends. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody else has submitted. See ya.
Hi, Jake from Game Domain again. For those of you who don't know, at Game Domain we do videos ranging from many different topics on various games, so be sure to check out our videos. My favorite game of all time, or I should say Domain 76's favorite game of all time, he wrote this script, is of course Super Paper Mario. Super Paper Mario continued the paper style laid out by the other games in the series, but the similarities start to decrease from there. This game feels most like a traditional Mario side-scroller, not so much the three-dimensional movement allowed by other games in the series. Speaking of 3D, Super Paper Mario's distinctive gameplay mechanic, or one of the two, is your ability to switch back and forth between 2D and 3D, kind of like the transition between the two dimensions in Odyssey, to solve puzzles or avoid enemies. I liked it because it felt like I was seeing traditional Mario games from a new angle, and it often felt rewarding for making the switch to avoid enemies that would have definitely killed me in the past. The other mechanic was switching players. Each of the playable characters, Peach, Bowser, Luigi, and, well, Mario, has special traits that allow and sometimes require you to switch between players to solve problems or to clear areas. Most of the time, you'll probably stick with Mario, but having the ability to switch makes for a fun change in pace. It's a story-rich game as well. That's a positive for me, but I have heard people complain about how much text there was to read and or click through. Much like The Thousand-Year Door, I enjoyed the story as I'm not the type to really enjoy just playing through a game. Remember when I said it's an unpopular opinion to say Super is better than the other Paper Mario games? Well, what's not unpopular is saying that Super Paper Mario has the best story in any Mario game, and even better than a lot of other Nintendo games. Nintendo did something unique and didn't just have cutscenes to explain what was going on. In between chapters, there would be text boxes that explain some of the events that occurred before the game. If you're like many people, you may have just skipped through these, but if you're interested in the story, don't. Now, let's talk about the soundtrack. I'm going to say it now, and feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but I think Super Paper Mario has the best soundtrack out of any Mario RPG, and that's saying something. Just listen to the Gloam Valley theme, the Castle Black theme, the Sammer's Kingdom theme, the Robot Battle theme, and especially the Ultimate Show. The songs mesh modern Mario music with retro-style music, and they could not have done it much better. Time to talk about all the secrets and optional content. There are 4 extra pixels you can unlock that aren't needed to beat the game, but do have benefits such as barrier and running faster. There are 2 pits of 100 trials, one in Flipside and one in Flopside. For a relatively easy game, these will test your patience. You have to go through 100 different rooms of enemies, find a key, and then move on in a limited amount of time. Outside of that, there are arcade machines, enemy cards, stories, and more. Super Paper Mario represents the old and the new in Mario games. The blocky characters mixed with the more modern-looking characters, the retro-modern music, and 2D gameplay and 3D gameplay. This game is just amazing, so please give it a try if you have not yet.
Hello peoples, this is Mr. Mouser06 here, and today I'm here to tell you about my favorite game of all time, Minecraft. And I know it's pretty generic. Minecraft, the best-selling game of all time. You know, everyone loves it. But today I'm here to tell you my favorite aspects about Minecraft. So I'm just going to get right off with multiplayer. The multiplayer experience in Minecraft is awesome. There are several different ways you can play multiplayer. I'm going to tell you the 2 most common ones. The one I am playing right now is minigames. Minigames are, they're like games. Yeah, there are games in Minecraft. So, for example, what I'm playing right now, there are 8 teams of 2. Each team spawns with a bed. You have to protect that bed. If you have your bed there, you will respawn after being killed. If your bed is broken, you will not respawn any longer. You have to break other teams' beds and kill them for points, and so they can't kill you otherwise. Otherwise, they will still be in the game trying to kill you. And a lot of minigames are like that. So there's Spleef, to where you're trying to break blocks under people's feet so they fall. What else is there? There is Sky Wars, where it's kind of like Bed Wars, except there's just chests and islands. And there's just tons of different game modes. The other one is SMP. SMP stands for Survival Multiplayer. It's basically a survival server. You survive. You play survival, you know. Sometimes it has data packs, sometimes it has mods, and sometimes it doesn't. 2 very popular examples of this are SciCraft and Hermitcraft. SciCraft is more focused on making everything automated. They're insane, and Hermitcraft is more just friends having fun, you know. Obviously, they're still insane, but not nearly as much. Also, I really like the fact that in Minecraft, if I'm playing my survival world, I don't have to waste my resources trying to build something. then realizing it doesn't work and then not being able to do anything about it or having to tear it down, I can go in the creative world real quick, a separate world, and build it and see if it actually works. And if it doesn't, that's fine. I can just find a new concept, and that's really nice. My last aspect I really like about Minecraft is data packs and mods. A data pack is kind of more vanilla. It's technically vanilla, where you can add stuff that are vanilla. For example, people add crafting recipes. People have even added mobs. They can add structures, I believe, although I don't think they can spawn naturally. And they can just add tons of great stuff with data packs. They're awesome. Now, a mod is different. It is not vanilla. Vanilla also is unchanged code. I forgot to mention that. Mods are pretty awesome. You can add pretty much anything you can code. You can take away aspects. Some are pretty popular mods. There's Tinker's Constructs, where you can make a smelter and make awesome tools, And there's Jurassic Craft, which I really like. It's where it's basically based off Jurassic World. Create dinosaurs. There's Ender.io, technology-based. Lots of technology-based mods are pretty cool. There's Biomes of Plenty is probably is obviously hundreds of new biomes. There's Quark, which is kind of like vanilla-ish additions. And you can do anything. They can make worlds fun to explore. I'm just exploring, in my world. And there's a giant floating island with slimes falling from it in the middle of the sky. And I'll go find out what it is. And it's a really fun and challenging experience. That is why Minecraft is my favorite game of all time.
Game Domain, appreciate letting me on the collab. Hey guys, this is dhoka here, representing Arcade Parade. I could have chosen a more traditional game to call my favorite, but you guys know I like obscure games. Oh man, Beautiful Joe, Mega Man Battle Network, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Saints Row, and Sonic Riders are all games that could have topped my charts and made a position here. But I have a special place for this particular elegant jester. Actually, I was first introduced to this character through spin-off titles. First encountering him in Sonic Adventure 2 as the Knights building, which hangs out in Radical Highway, one of Shadow's level. And the curiosity of the significance of this character is what drew me to him. Soon after, I ran into Knights in Billy Hatcher as one of the hatchable eggs. This one was a little confusing. This was then followed by Sonic Riders, which was my actual first playable encounter with the mysterious Dream Spike. Its elegance and style quickly stood out, called to me, and I began riding with Knights as my main character in any game I can find him in. I soon began finding myself searching for every instance of this character that I could find, finally landing on the original source. At the time, I had no way of playing the game, but luckily for me, the Wii release was just around the corner. So I got to play Journey of Dreams as my first Knights game. I finally got to experience this whimsical jester, and I had so much fun doing that. Sure, Knights wasn't the greatest when it came to gameplay, sound, or story writing, but it was enough to keep me invested. I liked its free-flowing structure. It was simple. Being able to jump in for a quick 5-minute flight, or sit down and embark on a long journey is great, but being able to jump out just as quickly is a luxury. Knights is a game that knows when to leave and will gladly wait for your return. It doesn't matter if you just came back from grinding away in that long RPG, or recovering your self-esteem from that foot to chest in that fighting game. Knights is a no-harm option. It's a very zen, straightforward, and simple game. You look at it and you get it, no real investment involved. You almost instantly know how to play just by watching someone for a few short moments. I like that. Now that I'm organizing my thoughts, I think what drew me to Knights is the mystery surrounding Knights. but Rial is cool too.
Hey there everyone, my name is vintagefreak, and my favorite video game of all time, without a shadow of a doubt, is my absolute childhood favorite, Ratchet & Clank 3. Like, this game, along with a few others, was my childhood. Like, it does explain my lack of a social life, but who cares when we got this awesome game? Now, right, it's probably not the best Ratchet & Clank game ever, but was the first one I ever picked up, and I fell in love with this game, like, immediately. Giant guns, giant aliens, giant robots, giant personalities. I mean, what's not to love? Now, if you don't know what Ratchet & Clank is, it's basically the journey of a giant space rabbit and a sentient toaster blowing stuff up in space. It's amazing. It's pure, unadulterated fun, action, comedy, satire. The reason for 93% of the furries in my generation existing. So, thanks, Insomniac. Now, Ratchet & Clank 3 tells a story of basically a robotic conehead trying to turn the whole universe into robots because he thinks organic life forms, or squishies as you call them, are weak and stupid and useless. And I mean, he's got a point, but regardless, it's up to us to save the day. And essentially the gameplay revolves around a lot of running, a lot of gunning, a lot of laughs, and even more running and gunning. Ratchet & Clank 3, it's also known as Up Your Arsenal in the US. Oh, Insomniac, I see what you did there, you cheeky little buggers. It was originally released in 2004 and saw a re-release in 2012 in a trilogy bundle on PS3, which has some kinks. Just get this game on PS2 if you can. But on either version, this game is an absolute blast, no matter how you slice it. This game is, and most likely always will be, my favorite game of all time, just because of how much time I put into this, how much fun it is trying to get all those skill points and all those platinum bolts. It also had a big emphasis on online play, which was a big thing back in the day. I sadly never really had a chance to experience the online aspect of it, so can't speak too much on that, but the offline multiplayer was also consistently fun as hell, especially with friends, back when I had those. But regardless of all the kinks and curses in this game, as well as the rest of the PS2 Ratchet & Clank series, well worth your time. You won't regret it. Seriously, if you can, pick up any Ratchet & Clank game from the PS2 era of gaming. And that's about it from my end. On to the next one. Peace.
When the question was posed, what's your favorite video game? It took me less than a second to think to myself, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Now yes, I love the Roller Coaster Tycoon series as a whole, except for World, because we don't want to talk about that train wreck, but Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 was always the standout for me. I was introduced to the Roller Coaster Tycoon series when I was about 3, and I remember playing the original game for hours on end, and that's all I knew for a long time was the first Roller Coaster Tycoon, until the third one came out. So I kind of skipped over the second one completely, and it wasn't until I got a little bit older, I'd say like 8 or 9, that I discovered Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. So with this older age, and with my accumulated knowledge of the game, I just went off and started playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 every day after school, on the weekends, whenever. And I didn't have Steam at the time. I had, you know, a CD-ROM. For some of you younger kids, I bet you don't even know what that is. But I can tell you I logged well over, I would say, 3,000 hours into Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. And there's just something about it when that music kicks in, or the fact that you can customize your own Six Flags park, or you can go to Magic Mountain and destroy all the rides and make your own. There was just something so special about the second Roller Coaster Tycoon. And with all that being said, to this day, it is still my favorite video game.
Hey there guys, Yuri from YouTuber's Gaming. I'm here to talk to you guys about my favorite game. It's been a bit difficult trying to figure out which one it is because there's so many out there, but in the end I actually landed on Final Fantasy VIII. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are talking about Final Fantasy VII, the remake coming up. Don't get me wrong, I like it, I want it, gimme. But Final Fantasy VIII for me was one of the games that I put the most time in of almost any game I've ever played. Over 150 hours in total so far, maybe more. I'm not sure exactly, but it's a lot. And you know, I find it very interesting because it's really it's a cool story. It starts out really small. You're a student in a school in a garden, as they call it there. Getting trained to be some kind of mercenary hired gun. Bit of a strange twist there, but still, hey, sure, if it works, it works. And there's rivalry between different gardens, and they get hired to do stuff and to guard and to fight and stuff. And then slowly along the way it gets bigger and bigger and more stuff gets involved until it becomes a plot involving time-traveling witches and powers they've never believed possible, which is insane. Also, just for show, just for fun, just come on, gun blades. Gun blades. Awesome. Anyway, soundtrack's awesome, combat system's great, very, very well thought out for the time. And I just can't seem to get enough of it. Every once in a while, I'll just go back to it, start over again, or continue to save. If I didn't lose it, of course, because it's been so long, you never know. Yeah, that's it, Final Fantasy VIII. I hope you guys liked that. I hope to see you guys later.
Hey, my name's Chris.
And I'm Cece, and we're GotDang Gaming.
We're both sort of Zelda fanatics, so both of our answers are Zelda games. I'll go first. My favorite game is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. When I was little, I knew early on that I loved puzzle games, namely Zelda, with the added adventure. Majora's Mask's prequel, Ocarina of Time, was already one of my favorites, but for me, Majora's Mask took everything Ocarina had and improved upon it. First off, the base plot was so out of the box. It was less about destiny and more about personal loss. And in dealing with his own loss, Link ends up helping pretty much everyone in this world with their personal issues, which is another reason I love this game. For me, it does side quests better than any game ever has, even to this day. Every character in the game has some sort of puzzle to finding out what it is you need to do to help them, and you're aided by your bomber's notebook that explains what time of day and on which day you need to pay attention to them to solve that puzzle. Which brings me to the day cycle system. I know there are people that don't like it, but I just don't understand that. I adore the 3-day system. Essentially, the game takes place over a repeated 3-day cycle. If the time runs out, the world is destroyed and you have to start over. But not really. Any major progress you've made, like defeating a boss, is for keeps. The sense of urgency it gives you is like pure adrenaline for me. I love it. Lastly, the game's overall atmosphere has always pulled me in. Majora's Mask is known by fans as a pretty dark game, and I think it is. Many of the side quests will really tug at your heartstrings, and the main plotline has you helping dying or dead souls who are attached to the world cross over so you can obtain their abilities in the form of a mask. Did I mention the game is all about masks? That's another thing I love. What a weird mechanic. Tons of masks you put on that all have different abilities, some of them transforming your body into a new character with a new combat style. And that about sums it up for why I love Majora's Mask.
Okay, shut up. My turn.
No. Okay. Rude.
Well, Majora's Mask is an excellent choice. I'd have to say The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is my favorite title in the franchise, and one of my favorite games of all time. Wind Waker definitely has the best executed story in any Zelda game. It was the first Zelda game to truly feel cinematic. The characters all express themselves in really entertaining ways, from crazy movements and silly dances to facial expressions. The music does an insanely good job at setting the atmosphere and evoking emotion in the player. It easily has the best music in the gaming industry. The music and wild characters combined with the plot twists and the sense of adventure really makes the game feel like a theatrical experience. Okay, so this is one of the first cutscenes in the game, and I feel like it's a good example of how the storytelling in Wind Waker is so great. See, you got everyone you've come to meet on the island when you first start the game, waving goodbye to you on your grand adventure to save your sister. And then what's that? The music? It's kind of sad now. What's that? Oh, there's my grandma. Oh my god. And then the final wave, ladies and gentlemen. The music picks back up, more triumphant than ever. You see the love in Link's face as he waves goodbye to his dying old grandmother. it's so sad. It's just so sad and so sweet, and this cutscene really gets you ready for the emotional roller coaster that is the rest of this game.
Hey, what's up? Chris here from Cohesive Friendship Unit, and currently my favorite game of all time is a totally unique answer, I'm sure. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Playing Ocarina of Time for the first time is one of my most treasured gaming moments, and I remember beating the first dungeon of that game and thinking it couldn't get any better, it couldn't get any bigger, like the whole game had to take place in this forest. But boy was I wrong. Ultimately, Ocarina of Time went on to become my favorite untoppable game because the shift from 2D to 3D simply could not be replicated unless the same were to happen in, say, VR way down the line. Breath of the Wild comes along and proves me wrong. It came close to awe-inspiring as possible, close as possible to trumping Ocarina of Time by cranking up the world size to an absurd amount, magnitudes bigger than the previously untopped large overworld of Twilight Princess, while keeping locomotion extremely fun with the new and unique gliding, climbing, and riding. I challenge you to name a game of this open world-esque type with as fun locomotion. Art is the ultimate mashup of two things I love. We're talking Miyazaki movies, The Greatest of the Greats, Castle in the Sky, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, and even Spirited Away, compared and mashed up with Zelda to make this beautiful Miyazaki-like art style that just is literally made for me. The physics and logic-based puzzles are a departure of the more rigid puzzle-based solving in previous Zeldas, and they constructed a system that just makes sense, is the best way I can describe things. When you want to do something, you think of how to do it in the most sensible real-world way, and you do it. It's very similar to Half-Life 2, except brought to the next level in 2017, and it allows for multiple puzzle solutions as opposed to a linear singular. And while the story and dungeons may have been a bit of a letdown, the non-linear style helped make up for these shortcomings. Being able to complete any dungeon in any order helps alleviate a weaker Zelda story and weaker Zelda dungeons. Ultimately, this is my dream game that I could have never entirely dreamed up myself. They knew things I didn't even know I wanted. And let's hope for some great things out of Breath of the Wild 2.
Hello everyone, my name is Aiden or COLLAB on YouTube, and I make PS4 gaming videos on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be talking about what I think is the best game of all time. So what I think is the best game of all time is Fallout New Vegas. I'm going to split it up in 3 categories: graphics, gameplay, and storyline. So let's go. The storyline. The setting is 2281 in Fallout New Vegas, or New Vegas, Nevada. You're a courier that was sent out to send a package of a platinum chip, but you wake up to men and they shoot you for your platinum chip. You wake up and you have to find the platinum chip to deliver the platinum chip to Mr. House. Once you found the platinum chip, you have 4 choices on who to work with: the NCR, the Legion, Mr. House, and Yes Man. So basically the NCR are like a militarized group which wants to like make New Vegas better. The Legion are based on basically roaming not Roman Catholic, but roaming type people. Mr. House is the controller of New Vegas, and Yes Man is a robot that wants to take over New Vegas. The game is about 9 to 10 years old, so the graphics are alright, but on PC you can make it better with mods. But if you're an old schooler, the graphics are pretty good for an old game on the Xbox or PS3. To be honest, the overall graphics are pretty good for an old game. The gameplay is outstanding for an old game. It's not like Fallout 4 with realistic walking, but it's great. The gameplay is like Fallout 3, but with first-person shooter, you have access to iron sights. There are 4 modes: easy, medium, hard, and hardcore. Hardcore is a mode that makes the game more realistic. This includes dehydration, hunger, and non-instantaneous healing. So these are my overall thoughts. It's a great old game that needs to be remastered, honestly. It would be an amazing game if it was remastered. The game is really good from the gameplay, graphics, storyline, setting, anything like that. It's fantastic. It's pretty old, but it's pretty affordable since it's an older, type of game. And it's really good. I have it on my Xbox 360. I wish I could do it on my channel, but I don't have like a game capture card or anything like that. But yeah, so I want to thank Domain for letting me do this. When I saw it, I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about like my favorite game of all time. And if you guys disagree that Fallout New Vegas is not the best Fallout game in the series, that is totally okay. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. See you guys.
What's up, guys? I'm LocoCoco, and I absolutely love video games. They can just do so much that any other form of media or art cannot. They can take you away from wherever you are and plant you straight into something amazing, whether you're getting wrapped up in an immersive story, building a city, experiencing the thrill of your favorite shooter, or grinding through a leveling system to become as powerful as possible. Wherever you want to be, or whatever you want to do, you can be there in an instant. Now, my favorite game. That's a tough question. I mean, there's so many genres, and so many great games in those genres, but if I had to pick one single game that has moved, entertained, and shaped me, it would be Kingdom Hearts. Just Kingdom Hearts, no particular game, just the entire series. The Kingdom Hearts series is one filled with magic, nostalgia, emotions, adventure, and depending on which game you're playing, entertaining gameplay. Now, if you don't know what Kingdom Hearts is, it's too much to explain. I do not have 90 minutes, because that's how long it would take for me to explain Kingdom Hearts. Ever since I first started my journey with Sora, Donald, and Goofy when I was 11 years old, I have been absolutely in love with the game, the characters in the story. The way they connect you with the characters in Kingdom Hearts is for me what sets it apart from any other game. The emotional connection you feel for the characters, it's like they are actual people who you actually care about. I have never had such an emotional connection with a game and its characters as I have with Kingdom Hearts. No word of a lie, I have cried for so many different reasons whilst playing this series, and I cannot think of a single other game that has made me feel this way. Now, the story. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the story of the entire game. You will have to find that out yourself when you go play it after watching this video. But I will describe the story the best I can. The story is so rich and ever springing a new twist in the plot just when you think you've got it figured out. You get so wrapped up in it, wanting to know what happens next. Who's that person? Is that guy really bad? Is that guy really good? It leaves you questioning everything and ever wanting to know more. All whilst swooping you up in the nostalgia of your favourite Disney movies and Final Fantasy games. Now, I'm going to have to wrap this up. But, in short, Kingdom Hearts is a game about love, friendship, growth, and selflessness. and I hold this game so close to my heart. It has been there for a lot of my life, and I think it will always be my favourite game. I mean, I better still love it in 20 years. I have a tattoo of it, for heck's sake. You should definitely check out Kingdom Hearts if you haven't already. You will not regret it.
Hey guys, what's up? My name's Sam. I have over 50,000 combined subscribers. I own the channel Fume Revolution. I direct music videos under the name Ritzy. And right now I'm growing a commentary channel, Cyber from 6. So if you're going to subscribe, that one's the newest. So I would appreciate if you subscribe to that one. Also, I have a couple other projects such as a Minecraft server, things like that. Anyway, when I was approached to do this, right away I knew what the game was going to be. I mean, simple as that. So, my favorite game is Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And it might not be like the artsiest game ever made, and it might not be the, you know, like, just like, best made game ever, like, undisputed. But it is a game that I have put so much time into, and that even today still fun to play. And so, to really understand why I like it, when I got it, it was back when I was a kid, and I played tennis, and I'd hurt my ankle, and I have just a huge fear of needles, the only fucking thing I'm scared of, right? And so I had to get some blood drawn. I'm flipping the fuck out, and my mom's like, okay, listen, if you're a man about this, I'll let you buy any rated M game you have. And I used to play all of the other Call of Duties over at my cousin's house whenever I could. And so yeah, all my friends were playing this too, and I just instantly fell in love with it. I love the community. It was, I know some of you might be too young to remember what FaZe Clan was back then, but back when it was trick shotting, it was just beautiful. Everyone wanted to be in it. I remember spending some time with the boys at Era, just everything, it was such a positive community back then. I mean, some people will look back and say it was toxic, but overall, I had a overwhelming positive experience with it. And so, yeah, no other game could be number one for me except that.
How's it going, YouTube? It's me, StevenWXYZ from StevenWXYZ Games, and my favorite game of all time is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. The game is so versatile, with so much to do, you can never get bored. From hand-to-hand combat, sword battles, gunfights, stealing enemies' weapons, there's so many ways to take out your enemies. Every single combat sequence is different. And I mean, come on, just look at this landscape. It's beautiful, with over 100 different islands to discover and explore, set in the gorgeous Caribbean. You can also explore the wondrous deep sea, looking in underwater shipwrecks full of pirate booty. But watch out! It's full of dangerous wildlife, ready to take you out in a moment's notice, such as eels, stingrays, jellyfish, and sharks. Even some of the coral can harm you, but don't fret. There's plenty of beautiful marine life to swim around as you explore the depths. They also provide you with hiding places and air barrels around to keep from drowning. These are some of my all-time favorite moments in the game, and I wish there were more. As well as underwater exploration, you have a small ship used for hunting marine creatures on the surface. You hunt them for skin and bones to craft with. There are sharks, whales, orcas, even narwhals. As well, there are plenty of wildlife animals inland to hunt. I love just sailing around, listening to sea shanties. They make sailing the oceans complete.
What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? Heard I in the morning.
Now, to my absolute favorite part of the game, the epic pirate ship battles. Cannons, short-range heavy shots, chain shots, mortars, and fire barrels. Use these to your advantage to rule the high seas. Raid too much and you will get a wanted level, making pirate hunting ships chase you to bring you to justice. My favorite and by far the most challenging battles are the 4 legendary ship battles. Seen now in the video is the HMS Prince. There's also La Dama Negra, the HMS Fearless and Royal Sovereign, the twin ships. And last but not least, El Impoluto. You will need to strategize well to bring these bad boys down. These reasons, among others, is why Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is my favorite game of all time.
Hello guys, so nice of you to join me. My name is Judy and my favorite game of all time is The Walking Dead. Let me tell you right now that this game reshaped the gaming experience for me. It was the first title I played that was really focused on story and your connection with the characters. You feel them, like, really bad. It's so easy to get invested in those characters and to forget that this is just a game. You actually think very hard before saying anything or before making a choice. You start to worry about the characters that you like and hate the others. It helped me immerse in games and made me try to live among the characters that I play with. It's a whole new experience that it's hard to shake off once you have it. Each episode I was excited to see what's gonna happen with the characters and with the friends or the foes that I made along the way. This game had great graphics that really set Telltale's unique style of storytelling, and the gameplay, even if minimal, was intense and packed with emotional charges every step of the way. I really like the fact that the playthroughs are unique and reflect the player personality in a way. Maybe we won't pick similar answers and we'll still reach the same conclusion, but that doesn't really matter because the journey was different for both of us. Some characters hated me, the same characters loved you. The journey of the game is what makes it special. And oh man, don't get me started on that epic ending and it also really opened doors and inspired great games such as Life is Strange, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, and many more that really took the create your own story idea and pushed it to its max potential. So I'm very grateful for The Walking Dead and I can proudly say that this is my favorite game of... What? Time's up? Okay, that's it from me. Thanks so much for the attention, cheers to you, and we'll see each other next time. Bye!
Hey guys, Jetski here, and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is a masterpiece. This game is my favourite for many reasons, but let's get the basics. COD 4 was the first in a trilogy developed by Infinity Ward and released under Activision on November 5th, 2007. Beginning with the campaign, and oh boy what a glorious one this was. It was exciting.
US Marines stationed on high alert.
Dramatic.
50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town.
Realistic. At times, but above all else, believable. You really do feel for the characters and the decisions made by them, because they feel real. You're playing a video game, so why can you relate so much to an SAS soldier named Soap McTavish? Actually, the answer is a simple one. Devs at Infinity Ward made these characters gritty, their actions are rough and the dialogue is dirty.
So why in bloody hell does Makarov know you?
These are all stereotypes that you would have for a British SAS soldier, which really sells the motives and believability for everything on screen. But the characters also need spirit, emotion, compassion for one another, which they all possess. The way characters so easily flowed between conversation, intense gunfights, action sequences, and emotional scenes was brilliant. And I know this sounds very cliche, but it felt like everything was alive, felt real. COD is probably best known, however, for being a multiplayer titan, and although the game has had some bumpy patches in this sector, it was very, very fun. Because this game was a pioneer for the more recent games, its features were lacking, but the simplicity is good. It felt grounded and most aspects felt polished. Maps like Crash and Strike were perfect for game modes such as Search and Destroy, and the fluidity of movement when traversing the terrain on the maps all felt smooth. The blend of the perfectly paced campaign and the simple but grounded features of the multiplayer are just a few of the reasons as to why Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare isn't only one of the best games crafted ever, but my all-time favourite. Thank you to Game Domain for gifting me this opportunity.
Hey guys, d-zaxer here to talk about my favorite game, which is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I always loved the Zelda series, and though a lot of great Zelda games came out recently, none of them succeeded in giving me the nostalgia that I still get from playing Ocarina of Time. I grew up with this game, so of course it holds a dear place in my heart. The story is great. You start as a child who has no idea of what's going on in the world around him. Then you get involved in some sort of war between good and evil. After collecting 3 spiritual stones, you are put in a slumber for 7 years, only to realize that the world has completely changed. Kokiri Forest, which was once your home, is now filled with deadly monsters. Zelda's domain, an aquatic city, is now covered in ice. Goron City, which was joyful, is now a ghost town. And I won't even talk about Hyrule Castle. It is up to you to repair the damage that has been done by Ganondorf, the big bad guy. To the 10 years old me, back in the days, it was such a great concept to be able to see all of the damage that has been done during Link's sleep, and I wanted to see the world go back to normal. The gameplay is awesome. Link responds perfectly to your input, and the camera almost never fails you like it could in some other games. The progress is somewhat linear, with each dungeon containing an item that you will need in order to progress, but it is done in such a way that you don't really feel restrained. The environment is very well detailed, considering that game came out in 1998. There are a lot of secrets for completionists, but none of them are required to finish the game itself. And the music. Man, the music. To me, Nintendo has always made great music, and this game is no exception. The music is so immersive, you know something sinister awaits you the moment you enter Shadow Temple. You can't help but feel happy while hearing the festive music of Castle Town. I mean, as long as you don't listen to it for too long, of course. I could go on all day telling you why I love this game so much, but I'm going to stop it there, and if you want to see for yourself, go ahead and play it. They even made a remake on the 3DS. Oh, and Nintendo, if you hear this, please find a way to make a multiplayer version of this game.
Hey everybody, it's GrimTube, and I'm playing Demolitions 3. It's an app in the iPhone store. It's pretty cool. You know, smash into cars and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty awesome, right? Yeah, so, you know, I picked a Cadillac because it's a good, big car. And it lasts longer. I didn't win this one, but, you know, I win most of them because if you drive your car in reverse, it lasts a lot longer. And you win more races because if your back end of your car is getting hit, you know, your engine isn't getting smashed up. And then you win. Yay. Pretty cool. So yeah, small little app review. Not my favorite game, but you know, my mic is broken on Call of Duty on my PlayStation, so I can't really do that right now. So this is what I'm doing. Yeah. Alright. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye.
Hey,
I'm Lance. I run the YouTube channel Twistachio, where I upload gaming videos every week, whether it be a collab with friends or by myself. Thanks Game Domain for having me in the video. Anyway, what's my favorite video game? Before you say, your channel only has our 6 videos, so you must like it. No, it's not my favorite game, okay? Jeez. Man, I need to make more diverse content. My favorite game actually is split because, like, my overall #1 game is Minecraft. Because it introduced me to gaming for real and content creating. However, my most life-changing game was RollerCoaster Tycoon 3. So, see, then when I was a lot younger, I had a really crappy computer. So I couldn't play Minecraft or Roblox or none of those games on it. So I rarely played video games. But I loved, and I mean loved, roller coasters. So like naturally I was drawn to a game about building them, and so that's where RollerCoaster Tycoon came in, which was a game made by Frontier, the creators of Planet Coaster, which was a game that kind of was a little bigger a few years ago, and back in 2004. And although the graphics on the game now look as bad as a PS1 game, to me, they looked great for the time. You could create a large theme park and spend hours designing roller coasters, planning scenery, and I mean hours. It was crazy how fun and amazing the game was. And at first, it didn't work on my computer, but somehow my mom got it to work on the Windows XP desktop that we had at the time, and I literally spent all my time on that game. It was amazing. And then the game also introduced me to the modding community, which was great. It also sparked me into watching YouTube, which then sparked me into watching Minecraft. That's a whole nother story on its own. But I modded the game until literally my computer could not boot sometimes, and it was crazy. But now I would probably put Minecraft above it all, just because that game was just like what made me love video games today and make me love playing them. But really what changed my like go for gaming was RollerCoaster Tycoon 3.
What's up, game domainers? It's your boy Tutor P here. Like that intro? I didn't. I don't want to do it again. So today I'm going to be talking about my favorite game, as you all know, and my favorite game is Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo for obvious reasons. Number one, it's the best game ever. All right, cut. See you guys on the... Okay, they all fell. That's fine. Yeah, so Super Metroid, I actually have it, so that's automatically like 5 more points on a scale of 1 to 10 for this game. But I mean, there's a giant dragon on it. You fight that dragon in the game too, along with like 3 or 4 other giant monsters and some regular sized ones too. It's one giant world. You get to fly a spaceship. It's Metroid. What more you want? So apparently you're expected to do something called wall jumping in this game, and that just like sometimes doesn't work, so I guess that's a flaw. But some people can get it to work and make you look really stupid after you complain about it for 30 minutes. So that's cool, I guess. That's a cool aspect about it. Also, this game's like, what, $1 million on eBay? That's also really cool. Or you can just get it for free with Nintendo Online, paying $20 a year. So, I mean, don't I look cooler than this? Don't I look really cool with this? I paid money for it. It's free now with Nintendo Online. That's cool. You can get a week free trial and beat this game for free. Legally. Still my favorite game, though. It's fun. I've beaten it before. I'm really good at it. I'm really good at this game, so I like it. In all seriousness, the gameplay looks really good. For a Super Nintendo game, the graphics are amazing. They actually look crazy good. There's different suits that Samus can get, and that's actually a really good aspect because it shows you through color how far you're progressing through the game, so that's pretty cool. Also, I like purple. Purple's great. You get to be underwater and jump higher, that's cool also. Guess what else is in this game? Smash Bros. Characters, 2 of them. You like Smash Bros., you'll probably like this game because 2 of the characters are from them. Maybe 3 to Zero Suit. Does that count?
Yes. Yes, it counts.
There's also some really cool, like, game-breaking, horrible glitches you could perform on this game that does anything from, like, corrupting your save to, like, making you beat the game in less than a minute. So I guess that's another interesting thing you could do. Hey, one note this game has that some games today don't have fully customizable controls. Wow. Is it that hard?
It's that hard.
This game has it. Fully customizable.
This one's actually pretty nice for its time.
You could also moonwalk in this game.
And not every game you can moonwalk.
Yeah, you want to know what else you could do? If you hate moonwalk, turn it off. wow, would you look at that, beautiful options that a lot of current games today don't follow. That's why this is the best game ever made. Nothing will ever top it. Nothing will ever change my mind. Even a better game wouldn't change my mind. So let's talk about some other people's favorite games. Don't forget to subscribe to Game Domain.
As most people know, I am a god among men, so I am often asked by others who seek my vast knowledge, hey, epic gamer guy, One Plumio, link in the description by the way, what's your favorite game of the video? To me, indie developers really conquer the gaming scene. Every year they completely beat out AAA games in both quality and quantity. To indie developers, graphics are a last thought when making a good game, which is why most of what I really enjoy are pixel games. Minecraft is probably the most accessible game I've ever played. Easy to play, but hard to master. It's simple to punch down a tree and make a simple green top. A little bit more difficult to play hardcore, beat the Ender Dragon all 20 times, and then make an Enderman grinder. Which, in case you were wondering, which you weren't, sounds like this. The vast expansive amount of content in Minecraft is unbeatable, with a procedurally generated world making every new playthrough significantly different from your spawn chunks, to your farms, grinders, and your final building goals. So whether you're playing hardcore, creative, on servers, with mods, which I couldn't get footage of because it decided not to work, with shaders, or just regular vanilla, the experience you get from Minecraft is unlike anything else. Get it? The sheer amount of things to do progression-wise is insanely massive and vast, but the best part of this timeless classic is to let your mind wander. Because if you can think it, you can build it. The only limit is your imagination.
Hey everybody, I'm Psychroclasm, and my favorite game of all time is Spyro the Dragon. Now I know that's about 1 billion other people's favorite game, but hear me out. There's this commercial on TV. There's a sheep on a New York City sidewalk, and I want you to picture this. He's standing on 2 legs, he's got a picket sign, oh, and most of his body is covered in severe burns. And he's screaming, "Boycott Spyro! Boycott Spyro!" I don't know what boycott means, so I don't know he's protesting. But not only are the people on this sidewalk not listening to him, they're staring at him with these hungry eyes, imagining him as a rack of lamb, and they're prodding him occasionally with forks. And it's not like they picked up like plastic forks from a hot dog stand. It's metal forks. They have been carrying these around. They brought these from home. So this 30-second commercial contains 4 seconds of gameplay footage. 1 section for each scene. The first one is this little purple dragon flaming a guy who's showing him his butt through a hole in his pants. The second one is the same dragon burning a flock of sheep for no apparent reason. The third one is the dragon flying around, lighting lighthouses, being useful to society. And the fourth one is the dragon flaming this buzzard, blows all of its feathers off. And then you see another guy, like, in the background, using another buzzard, like, swinging it around his head, like he's about to use it as a melee weapon. And it hooked me. Legos, Kinects, Power Rangers, didn't matter. It was all about Spyro. I begged and begged. And Christmas 1998, I got a PlayStation and Spyro. I'd never had my own thing. Like, there was no Atari, no Sega passed down from parents or cousins or anything like that. Spyro is where it all started for me. And 20 years later, it has still managed to hold its place in my heart. Honestly, 10 of those years were spent trying to actually complete it. And I didn't even realize how special it was at the time, because I eventually got other games, and none of them featured like fully voiced and animated conversations between the main character and NPCs. And it's not even just 1 or 2, it's 80-ish dragons throughout the game, plus Nasty Nork. And sure, some of them only say "thank you for releasing me," and then pff, they're gone. But some of them give you hints to find secret stuff in other worlds. And the enemies had so much going on. They were all Norks, but they all had like different personalities and movesets. Like, some of them would like cower from you and like their teeth would be chattering. Some of them would run and duck into tents, and failing that, once you burn their tent away, they just decided as one last act of rebellion to show you their butts. And then there were some other ones that were dressed as Rambo that had machine guns. And the level designs were just as varied. It was fantastic because there was like a whole hidden level in the first world, and the only way you could know about it was this grossly inadequate hint from a dragon you rescue 3 worlds later. Like, we didn't have a computer or the internet, and I probably wouldn't have been able to use it if I had had it. But that's just how it was. And there were other like hidden collectibles that you just kind of had to hold the entire level in your mind, because you're like doing leaps of faith off of cliffs and doing blind glides and hoping you land where you're supposed to go. And the final level wouldn't unlock until you found 100% of everything. Put that all together with this purple, sassy, flying, headbutting, supercharging, metal breaking with his face dragon, and you just get something magical that still somehow holds up 20 years later. When I started YouTube, it was the first game I recorded. When Reignited came out, did back-to-back 100% streams. And it's really what started my gaming career. And I'm really grateful that that's where I started, because I started in this place that showed me just how entertaining and captivating all of it could be.
Hello, my name is Shini. My favorite game has to be the Rune Factory series, most notably Rune Factory 4. It's what would happen if Harvest Moon and Legend of Mana met. It's games like these where I can shut off my brain and just enjoy it for what it is. Farming is easy, easier than Harvest Moon at least. You can upgrade your farming equipment to become more efficient. The watering can water more squares than a basic watering can can. An advanced hoe can till more ground, and so on and so forth. The addition of large crops is something rather new to this series, and is done by placing the same crops in a 2x2 formation, then using giant sizer on the soil. It takes a long time, but you'll eventually have large crops. The addition of trees and seed dungeons are welcomed, as they can provide stones and wood in the farm without having to venture out. Depending on the steps you take in taking care of them, you'll end up with an unlimited supply of wood and stone. You can buy animals in Rune Factory 4, not that I know of, but you can instead tame them. Yes, that's right, you can even tame some boss monsters. Heck, tame this giant tree if you want. I mean, who's gonna stop you? Monsters are renowned for being great partners in battle, and they can even take care of your farm for you, similar to those of Harvest Sprites in Harvest Moon and Junimos in Stardew Valley. You simply pick where to set them in the farm and let them go. They can harvest crops, water the soil, and hell, you can even have them plant seeds for you, but that requires you to pay them money, which is rather weird. Of course, the animals and monsters get fatigued after days of work, so you need to have a set of them in order to circulate work around the farm. There's also a social aspect to Rune Factory, like Harvest Moon. Get engaged with bachelors and bachelorettes, bring them out on dates, bring them out to you on adventure, help them fight a big boss for you, anything can go. In Rune Factory 4, the player may finally pick if they choose to play a male or a female character. That's right, you can finally play a female character in Rune Factory. So I do hope you get to try out Rune Factory 4. It's my most favorite game. Well, apart from the Persona series and Final Fantasy series.
Greetings, Game Domain audience. I'm Blue Knight, and I'm a Let's Player. I've covered several games from PlayStation and Nintendo, including my favorite, Star Fox 64. You probably know this because of the quotes and memes about it, but this game is truly a classic in every sense of the word. Star Fox 64 is an on-rail shooter with a simple story, but the best part about it is choosing which path to take. There are secrets hidden in some levels that can take you to different locations in the Lilat system. No two playthroughs are ever the same if you know what you're doing, and the learning curve isn't that hard to get through. The training mode is both fun and helpful, so once you master the controls, playing the game is a blast. The cast is memorable, and the music is phenomenal. I kid you not, there isn't a song in the game that I don't like, and some tracks have been remixed over the years for later installments. Speaking of, Nintendo has tried their best to make another outstanding title like this in the series to varying degrees of success, but I think this one is still the best. I remember playing this game every day when I came home from school, before or after I did my homework. I've probably logged in over 200 runs at this point, and I've never gotten tired of it. I played this so much that I could remember the whole script at one point. I was practically obsessed with it for a time. Star Fox 64 has been my favorite since I was 8 years old. In fact, I didn't have a second favorite game for the longest time since I never found one that I loved as much as this game. It's because of it that Fox is still one of my mains in Smash Bros. To this day, and the remake is the big reason why I own a 3DS to begin with. I could keep going on, but my time is short. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Hello guys, it's me from the Lightning Boy Plays channel. Today I was chosen to show my favorite game that I like to play, and that's why I'm here. Alright, so my favorite game is Roblox since I play it a lot. But to be more specific, I like Arsenal. Arsenal is my favorite game in Roblox because it's a fun game. Basically you shoot at people and if they oath then you will get a new gun. First person to get a oath with a knife wins the game. The game is really fun. I'm really good to be honest. Sometimes I kill hackers, which is actually really funny since that's what they deserve. I have been playing these types of games basically since Pixel Gun 3D came out. I was a OG player because I got it when the game came out on the App Store. So Arsenal really brings back memories and I still got my skills, so that's why I'm good at this game. This game also allows you to collect cash for you to later buy on skins, kill effects, and sound packs. That's what keeps it really fun. You can also craft items if you have multiple of them. Alright, now I'm gonna show you guys a montage, so please enjoy. If you do like my skills, make sure to like this video right now. Alright, hope you guys like my interview of my favorite game. Anyways, hope you guys have a good day and bye.
Hello, I'm Dom the Big D, from Scum and Boundaries channel. It's very tough choosing just one favorite game, so let me tell you about a rather obscure game that has blown my mind, called Pathologic. Pathologic is a survival horror game made by Russian developers Ice Pick Lodge. As the words in the genre suggest, players' task is to survive the game, but it's not exactly simple. You see, in Pathologic you play as a healer who is stuck in a really weird town that is being devoured by a supernatural plague. Every hour of the game is challenging because you need to manage hunger, thirst, and infection meters in order not to die yourself, and as a healer you have to try to save as many people as you can. And that's where horror part comes in. There are no jump scares or monsters in the game. The horror comes from dark atmosphere and difficult choices. You're just one man who is struggling to get by, him or herself. There's no way you can save everyone. And you won't. Lots of people will die and you will have very little power over the events that are happening. But the struggle, that often feels hopeless, has a lot of beauty to it. It blends parts of a lot of mediums, most notably theater, into a mesmerizing interactive experience. With the stunning art style, beautiful soundtrack and brilliant writing, Pathologic feels more like a piece of art than a game. That being said, it's not a game that's fun to play. It's actually really stressful. It's certainly not for everyone due to heavy themes and punching mechanics, but if anything at all seemed at least somewhat interesting, do give the game a shot. The second installment of the game was recently released, and it's only going to get better with time, because 2 more playthroughs with new playable characters are yet to be made. The original version of Pathologic radically changed my perception of what a video game can be, and Pathologic 2 is only refining the ideas from the first game into an even shinier diamond in the rough.